Number 2 in the present perfect. Any other?
Number 9.
Number 9. Any other? No, right? We don't have another sentence in the present perfect. Okay. What about the past perfect? Which of them are in the past perfect?
Number 1.
Number 1,
The third one.
3,
3 and 4.
4. Any other?
5.
5. Any other?
7.
And 7, right? Very good. Okay, and it says, which of them are in the passive voice? Of course, the rest of them, right? Number 6 and number 8 are in the passive voice. Okay? So today we are going to make a review of the past participle form of the verbs. Okay? As you can see, we can use the past participle form of the verb in different tenses. Okay? So we use the past participle form of the verb in the perfect tenses. So for example, in the present perfect and in the past perfect tense. Okay? These are some of the sentences in which we can use the past participle. And also we use the past participle verbs in the passive voice. Okay, so today we are going to make a review of these tenses. Okay, we're going to start with the present perfect. So this is the structure of the present perfect. Remember, we need subject, have or has, according to the verb, to the subject. We use have or has, and the verb in the past participle form. And then we have the object, right? In the negative sentence, exactly the same, but we need to add not, right? And the verb in the past participle form of the verb. Then we have the question form, have or has, the subject, and the verb in the past participle. So this is the structure of the present perfect. Remember that we use the verb in the past participle to form the present perfect, right? For example, I have visited Brazil several times. As you can see, this is the past participle form of the verb. Then we can use the present perfect in different situations, okay? It says we can use the present perfect to talk about an action or situation that started in the past and continues in the present. For example, I've known him most of my life. So this is an action that started in the past. For example, I knew him when I was 5 years old and I know him now. Okay, so it started in the past and continues to the present. Do you have any example for this option? Something that you started in the past and you continues now? ¿Qué podrían decir? Algo que ustedes empezaron en el pasado y continúan haciéndolo hoy. Hmm? Something? What can you tell me? Think about your sentence. I'm going to give you a minute. Don't forget to use the present perfect. Tell me, please, Vanessa, what is something that you started in the past and you continues until the present? What can you say? Vanessa, can you hear me?
Yes, teacher. I have been my workbook.
I have done my
I
workbook?
have done. Yes, teacher, I have done.
Okay. Any other ideas? What about you, Renata?
I have been studying English.
Okay, but this is a present perfect continuous. I have been studying English, right?
Yes.
Okay. So for example, you can say, um, I have gone to the same school since I was 5. I have gone to the same school since I was 5, or to the same, I don't know. And this is an action that you started in the past, and we are imagining that you still go to the school, okay? Then we use the present perfect for an action that happened at some time in the past, but we don't focus on when exactly it happened. Okay, so we don't mention when this action happened. For example, this is the sentence that Vanessa said. I have done my workbook. Okay, yo lo he hecho, pero no estoy mencionando cuándo lo hice. Okay, for example, he left the office. He will be home soon. We don't know when. We just know that he left. The same with Vanessa's example. We don't know when she did his workbook. Okay, but we know that she has done it. Okay, we don't know exactly the time when this action happened. Then we have here experiences in general. We use the present perfect to talk about experiences in general. For example, I have served in a number of movies. I have been to Mexico a few times. I have visited the museum. I had gone to this place. So to talk about experiences, okay? So this is the present perfect. Any questions about the present perfect? Let's talk about the past perfect, okay? We use the past perfect in different situations too. This is the structure of the past perfect. The only difference between the past perfect and the present perfect is the auxiliary verb. We change the auxiliary verb to the past. Okay, so we use had instead of have or has. And we use the past participle too with the past perfect. Okay? For example, I had just finished work when I heard a knock at the door. Okay? We use the past perfect to show that one action happened before another action in the past. For example, the sentence that I told you before. I had just finished work when I heard a knock at my door. Ok, entonces esta acción pasó primero, terminó primero y luego empezó la otra acción. Ok, so also we use the past perfect when we use a reported speech. She told me that she had passed her exam. Remember the reported speech? And also, we use the past perfect in the third conditional sentences, as we said before, right? If I had arrived on time, I would have seen him. Okay, ¿recuerdan que utilizamos en el third conditional? Also, we use in the reported speech, and when we are describing an action that happened before another action in the past. For example, I had arrived home when my sister called. Okay, so this is an action that happened before another action. Primero yo llegué a mi casa y luego mi hermana llamó. Okay, so this is the past perfect tense. And also we use the verbs in the past participle in the passive voice. Okay, remember that this is the structure of the passive voice that we learned. We need the object, the verb to be, and the past participle. The object, the verb to be in the negative form, and the past participle. And then we have the verb to be for the questions, verb to be, object, and the past participle. And remember that we can write the person who performs the action with by and the agent, okay? For example, the book was written by Jane Austen. As you can see, we use the past participle in this sentence. Okay, so these are the three tenses that we are going to check today to talk about the past participle verbs. When do we use the passive voice? We use the passive voice to emphasize or clarify who is responsible for the action by using by. Okay, for example, laws are passed by the Senate. When we don't know who or what is responsible for the action, the window had been broken. We don't know who broke the window. Then we have when it is obvious who or what is responsible for the action. For example, the law was finally passed. It is obvious that the Senate passed the law. And the last point we have to describe a process. The books are printed in China and then they are shipped to the USA. So we use the passive voice in these 4 different situations, okay? I want you to go to the grammar panel here. We are going to complete this. We are going to check this, okay? This is exactly what we saw before. Past participles. The past participle is used to form the perfect tenses, okay? For example, the present perfect or the past perfect, and the passive voice, as we saw before, the verb to be and the past participle, right? And here we have all the uses of the present perfect that I mentioned before, the uses of the past perfect that I mentioned, and the uses of the passive voice that I mentioned before. Okay? So let's see. We are going to complete this exercise, number 3, to practice a little bit the participles. Okay?